understand. We're over the second half of the season. 2 nights ago, I streamed the Monday Night Football game between the LA Chargers and the New York Jets. This had massive playoff implications, knowing we're over halfway over to the season. The deadline's done. Mecole Hardman's not a New York Jet anymore. It's not like he was overly productive for the New York Jets. It was either Garrett Wilson versus the world and a good running rotation of shifting out Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. And Breece Hall is having an intensive sophomore season after missing out halfway over to the season. That decisive loss over to the running game was the reason why they lost a lot of games last season after nearly being at least second best in the AFC East for a majority of the year until falling back around the same month in November. And yet, here they are, now third best in the AFC East, just losing to the Los Angeles Chargers. That just lost a lot of offensive leeway with Kenneth Murray was supposed to be out. Morgan Fox. They lost their second best receiver. Nothing was supposed to go the Chargers' way offensively. Their consistent running game and just great pass rush was just very intensive over the struggling, inconsistent pocket from the New York Jets. Like, we know the Jets are suffering a lot on the offensive line, especially when it came to the rotations. They were struggling to hold on. Of course, Randall Cobb was out with a shoulder injury. Allen Lazard was just coming back of questionable knee surgery. And they've lost Don Brown and Joe Tripman over and Tomlinson. That was still coming out of a hamstring, but still looked okay. He was the only offensive lineman that showed up. Xavier Gibson was good, and they already opened off the bat with Darius getting a massive punt return for a touchdown. It was a bit sluggish off penalties over on the defensive side of the ball, where Austin Eckler ran for the ball, and then just total points of only 6 points of total offense. Over the first half of the season, Jets only average around at least 15 to 16 points of total offense the entire season, bro. You can barely name any high-scoring performances that the New York Jets have looked somewhat competent, especially on home field, even in their New York Giants matchup where they won over on overtime, and that straightened them over to a 3-game winning streak, even at a time when they closed over the gap after their bye, when it's been the same way they've played offense the entire season. Decisive over the running game and attack around the gut. Let the defense make mistakes. Create mistakes out of that. Aggressively rotate off the run instead of try to use past receiving options with your halfbacks. You forget offenses can do that nowadays. Even teams without a starting quarterback can decisively use a running back as a receiving option instead of just a curl, shade off the block, turn over to the curl for a 3-point game. It is overly conservative football. Both New York teams have the same issue, and especially the Jets are a constant in this because they're at least over the top 10 defense in the league. So, whatever Robert Saleh possibly, and I blame Nathaniel Hackett because after his head coaching game bomb, they just thought he had a decisive postseason, or at least decisive tenure with his coaching, even though he's had a rarity of postseason experience. But hell, let's put him over as an offensive coordinator all because he has connections, not because he's actually good at his job. And you see that. No pocket presence. His left tackle was so close to him. Coming over to the right side, Bosa did a choke slam while taking down his offensive lineman to get the sack. 3 players, Khalil Mack, averaged around 2+ sacks around the game over on Monday Night Football. It is sloppy football that protruded to only 6 points of total goddamn offense when you had your best chance over the kickoff of the second half when you had a 31-yard reception over to Garrett Wilson. CJ Uzomah got a chance to at least gain around a gain of 9. And when you guys actually get some chances around the pocket, and you're not being creative around the way you carry the ball, and these guys press over with a fullback by being a lineman. Just press off a nickel and do some triple option sets when you got 2 good running backs on your disposal. No one's saying that you always got to use the deep ball. Like at least spam screen plays, get more creative around your offense, RPOs, try to set the secondary up, but it just seems like Zach just doesn't know how to fucking get reads, bro. It's agonizing. Because he's still playing like he's a rookie, and I understand he's still a young quarterback, but this quarterback's still in a higher pass percentage. Even CJ Stroud looks around the pocket, knows and finds his teammates. It creates for himself, knows when the pressure, the offensive line is collapsing, and scored over a passing touchdown comeback against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers around just the night before. So even rookies are better than Zach Wilson. With the mentorship of a future Hall of Fame quarterback, an primarily defensive coach over Robert Saleh, and just inept offensive play calling, is not going to score the tickets to the postseason if you're a Jets fan. You guys got to accept that. There'll be a decisive sub 500 team. They'll probably go to a 4-game losing streak in the latter half of the season. And I expect that because that's what the Jets always make us expect. When they finally have a chance to exceed expectations, they just blow it down the water with immense disappointment, thinking that you could just win the game with one side of the ball. And that's not how it works. It's never how it works. Even to be over in the conversation to a Super Bowl, you have to be at least the top 5 or the minimum top 10 over on both sides of the ball. So I don't know what their offensive play calling is to try to think we can streak, fade out, well RPO, we can hitch any side of the ball to Garrett Wilson. That's not how it works. And how Uzomah even dropped that ball down the curl, and that wasn't even a bad pass of Zach Wilson, was just atrocious. I understand it's a 1 loss out of a 3-game winning streak. I understand. But even against their game against the Eagles, where I was there for, I was there at MetLife. And we're seeing the same mistakes. If it wasn't for the good field position over the 3 takeaways that the Jets had against the Eagles, the Jets wouldn't have no opportunity to score around the running touchdown to get to the red zone to begin with. So I don't know where the denial is pressing up from, but there is no way, in God's name, you're going to win the next 3 games. No way. After the Raiders, you get the Bills, and after the Bills, you get the Miami Dolphins. It's sure the Bills have been frauds. They've been fraudulent, inconsistent, overly reliant over on Stephon Diggs with a lack of an identity on their defensive side of the ball. But by God, they're still way better than majority of AFC teams in the NFL. And they're in a dogfight with the Miami Dolphins at number 1 in the AFC East. We can't get that with the New York Jets. So, yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you want to see further content. I'm just getting frustration because I've seen this before with plenty of NFL teams thinking like the New York Giants. They're way better on the defensive side of the ball than offensively. They barely have any confidence with their quarterback or offensive or skill players, and when they just think that they can just capitalize off the offense, the other offense making mistakes, and they can't move the ball themselves, it's gonna be a problem because that means the majority of their wins are gonna be pure luck involved, and they have to capitalize off that. That's not how you're supposed to be winning football games consistently. So tell me how you guys feel down below. That's it for me.